Hi, okay, welcome to session 11. We're going to do a little bit of consolidating in this session. So we're going to look at all the learning and I'm just going to chuck it at you in any old random order for you to just have a go. Now, it's not a test, so you don't have to guess at any point. If you're not sure that you can remember how to do something, then please do look it up. That said, for some of the questions, like our fractions, like the first one on the screen, we've been doing this a little while now. So really do your best to see how your memory is getting on and try and do what you can to test your memory, okay? So the first one is on the screen. So hit pause and press play when you're ready to see the solution. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is just take in the question. It is a fraction question. I've got a mixed number in there, which is a bit of a problem, and it's a divide. So I know it's going to be keep, change, flip. So once I've gone in with my kind of knowledge check, I can start working on it. So 3 times 3 is 9 plus 1 is 10. And then I'm going to keep, change, flip. So I've got 10 over 3 times 7 over 2, which will give me 70 over 6. If you're stopping there, okay, then you've got that bit right. Well done. Do start trying to get that cancelling now. All right, we should be really going for it. Now, I personally would half this. They're both even. So rather than do 6s into 70, I'll just half it. And then I'll do 3s into 35, which, you know, the 3 times table is a smaller times table, so it's going to be hopefully easier to work with. So 3s into 35 are 11, 3s are 33, so that's 2 left over. Okay, so that's the first question done. All right, ooh, there you go. We don't hit pause, press play when you're ready. Okay, so it's a times question. It is a case of ignoring the decimals. So straight into our Chinese grid, we are technically dividing by 1 digit, which is 7. So you don't always really need a Chinese method. I just said I would stick with my Chinese method throughout now, just really because it demonstrates how easy it is. Sometimes just drawing the grid out is harder work. So 8 7s are 56. 3 7s are 21, out drops a 6, out drops a 6, and out drops a 2. So easy, 2, 6, 6. But that is for 38 times 7, remember. My question has a decimal point here, so I'm going to need to come in 1 place, giving me 26.6. Okay, next question, one at a time. Pause, press play when you're ready. Right, these are much, much easier to answer when they're not side by side, but they are underneath each other. Because then I know which side has the information that's going to help me. I need to get that 5 to be a 1. So I'm going to divide by 5. Must do the same this side. 12 divided by 5 is 2.4. So I've got 1.2.4 as my final answer. Okay, right, this is your next question. So I'm going to ask you to do this one by hand. All right, we won't have to do everything by hand, but I think it's a really good exercise to just check in. If you've got something like that and you had no calculator, could you do it? All right, so hit pause and then press play when you're ready. Okay, so this is a percent question. Whoops. And it's an increase. It's a 2-tick question. So it's original times multiplier equals result. So I need to be working on my multiplier first of all. So that's 100% plus 42%, which is 142%. And as a multiplier, dividing through by that 100, I've got 1.42. So the maths that I've got to do is my original 310 times by the multiplier 1.42. And you can see that this really is just Chinese method. Ignore the decimal, Chinese grid, and then put your decimal back in. So let's do that. There we go. Just make sure I do a fairly decent job of that. And again, you'll see how easy this Chinese grid is. Okay, multiplying by 0. Sorry, I put the wrong numbers in. Let me just correct that. There we go. Multiplying through by 0 is just 0. So all of these will be 0. And then you've got times 1. And then 1 times 3 is 3. 4 3s are 12. 2 3s are 6. So we've got 0, 2, 10, carry the 1. That's going to give me 4. And that's going to give me 4. So I have got 4, 4, 0, 2, 0. Now remember, I've got to come in 2 places for that decimal point. So 2 places for that decimal point. And my final answer is 440.2. And if I pop my units on as well, I am thinking of everything. Okay, so there's a bit of work to do and you have to do it all by hand, but you've got the skills. And I think that's something that's it's just really nice to know that you could be asked a question and you have the skills to just do it. You don't have to grab a calculator. Okay, next question. Have a go. Okay, I really, again, I like things in columns. So 0.067, 0.6, 0.65, and then 0.605. Then get all of the decimals so that they are the same. So a slightly different question, I think, to something we've seen before, but an important one. When you've done that, you can then kind of read it without seeing it as a decimal anymore. So I could see that as 560. I could see that as 67. So this makes it much, much easier to order. Now, ascending order means you start with the smallest. So the smallest is 0.067. And then it is 0.56. Now notice I'm not including the extra zeros that I put on. That was just to help me see clearly. Okay, and it's 0.6, 0.605, and 0.650 on the end. Okay, so hopefully that has helped. All right, this is a calculator question, so please do use a calculator. Hit pause and press play when you're ready. Okay, so cat food costs £18 for a 3-kilogram bag online, and the same cat food is £2.49 for a 400-gram pack in the supermarket. And you've got to work out where the better value for money is. So we've got to be able to compare them, and we can compare them to any matching value. So for me, in this question, I've got the fact here that £2.49 is 400 grams in the supermarket. So if I can get 400 grams out of that line, I can just make a perfect match. So that's how I'm going to do it. There is no right, perfect way, but the comparison needs to be really clear. So I know that it costs £18 for 3 kilograms, but I need to be in the same unit. So I'm going to have to change that to grams. So that's going to be 3,000 grams. I want to know what 400 costs so I can compare it to the supermarket. Okay, so we're going to put our trapped number on the bottom. Remember the one in this corner there. The other two I'm going to put in any which way I like. Throw it in the calculator. I get 2.4, which is £2.40 in money. And now I can make that comparison and say that on online is cheaper. Make sure you always answer the question, where is the cat food better value for money? Online. Okay. If this had been non-calculated, just something I want to point out is you can just knock off those zeros and you end up with something that's a little bit easier to work with. You could cancel down that fraction that we've got left of 4/30ths to 2/15ths, and you could manipulate it that way. Obviously, we don't have to. All right, next question is a fraction question. Hit pause, press play when you're ready. Okay, so I'm looking at a fraction. I'm looking at an add. So that is triggering smashed window. So we are going to set this up, smash out the window, 3, 8, 1, and 9. And now I'm ready to go. 1 times 8 is 8. 8 9s are 72. 9 3s are 27. Then check in with your question. Are you adding or taking? We're adding. So 27 plus 8 is 35. So I've got myself 35 over 72. I would take a minute to think about my cancelling. It's odd on the top. So are they in the 3s? Well, that definitely isn't. That's in the 5s, but that definitely isn't. That's in the 7s, but that isn't. It's not in the 9s. This doesn't cancel, but it's a good practice to check through to see if you can find something. Okay, next question. Pause and press play when you're ready. Okay, so really, really important that we take the information from the question and we write it mathematically. Okay, we've got Bob and we've got Bill. They both begin with B, so I'm putting a bit more in so that I remember who is who. In the ratio of 5:3. Bob has £30 more than. Okay, Bob hasn't got 30, he's got 30 more than. So this is my invisible column, and I'm looking at how much more Bob has. So in the ratio, he has 2. In the question, he has 30. So I'm going to be timesing by 15. Do the same on this side. And we're working out how much they share. So I've got to work out what 15 times 5 is, which is 75. 15 3s are 45. And then you would add these together. So 75 plus 45 is equal to 120. All right. So if you got that right, really well done. There's our next one. This is a calculator question. So again, please do use them. Hit pause and press play when you're ready. Okay, so we need to basically work out the cost in each shop. So we'll look at Pod Shop first. We've got 15% off. So that's a percent and a tick here for the off. That's a decrease. So my 2-tick question is giving me original times multiplier equals result. My multiplier is going to be 100% minus 15%. That is going to give me 85%. And there's a decimal that is 0.85. The original is 160. So when I put that into the calculator, I get 136. Then looking at Music Magic is plus 20%. So this is an increase, which is going to give me 120%. And as a decimal, 1.2 or 1.20. You do whatever's comfortable. If you want to keep that 0 in, you can. It really isn't a problem. So it's original times multiplier equals result. I'm just going to write that out again. So my original is 112. I'm going to times that through by 1.2. And when I do that, I get 134.4, which is lower. So answering the question, work out the difference in the cost between the two shops, requires me now to do 136, take away 134.4, okay, which is £1 £3.60. Okay, always check in and make sure that you are answering the question. All right, next one. It's another calculator question, so please do use that and press play when you're ready. Okay, so for this question, I've got my fact that 175 grams of flour are needed to make 8 cakes. Okay, so flour and cakes. And Mary wants to make 18 of the cakes. So 18 of the cakes means that I could put 18 there. But they're also telling me she's got 400 grams. Now, I can't put that in because I don't know if it's going to be the same exact answer. What it means is I could have actually chosen to use one or the other. Okay. If I use this one, I would end up with 18 divided by 8 times 175. And that would give me 393.75. So my answer is yes. She's got 400 grams. She has just enough really to do what she wants to do. If I had done the maths this way, okay, I would have ended up with 400 divided by 175 times 8, which would have given me 18.285. But I can still interpret that as yes, because that is she can make 18 plus a little bit. So yes, she can make her 18 cakes. So it doesn't matter which way around you do it. You will naturally do it the way that you see it. And that is just an example of the two alternative ways. But the final answer is yes, she has enough. All right. Next question. So what I'd like you to do with this one, if you can, is to try and do it without the calculator. They can come on calculator papers, and when they do, it makes life a lot easier. However, they can come on none. So it's always worth just seeing where we are, how confident we are currently with this by hand. So hit pause and press play when you're ready. Okay, so if we're going to be doing this by hand, we need to convert into one way, really, either all decimals, all fractions, or whatever. Okay, now I am going to go with percentages, which might seem a little odd as I've got more fractions than I have anything else. But to compare fractions, I've got to get all the denominators the same. And that's just way too much work. So fractions are absolutely out of it. Decimals or percentages. So here I know to just times by 100, and I know that that is 82%. This, if it can be out of 100, then I know that's a quick, easy way of looking at it as a percentage, because percentage means out of 100. So if I times top and bottom by 20, I would get 80 over 100, which is obviously my 80%. I already know that one. 2/3 is really one we should know. 2/3 is a recurring decimal of 666666666. So that's giving me 67%. And then this one, I'm going to have to do using the bus shelter method, using division. Now, if I didn't know my 2/3 were 0.66666, I would have had to have done this for that as well. So this is 7 divided by 8. So 7 divided by 8. 8s into 7 don't go. We're not expecting it to. It's a fraction, so a decimal. I put down my 0, put down my, and carry over. Now, 8s into 70 go 8. 8 8s are 64, so I've got 6 left over. 8s into 60 go 7. 8 7s are 56, so I've got 4 left over. Put that 0 down. 8s into 40 go 5 exactly. So as a decimal, it's 0.875 or 87.5 as a percentage. Once I've done that, then it's easy for me to see what order all of this goes in. Now, the 2/3 are coming first. That's the one that kind of stands out as the odd one because it's not even in the 80s where everything else is. I am going to be writing the form that they gave it to me in, not my converted form. So it's really clear to the examiner, I know what I'm doing. And that is the final answer. Okay. All right, next question. Have a go and press play when you're ready. So we've been given an exchange rate. So we're going to get this into our boxes and labels. We've got £1 equaling 1.48 euros, and we're changing £375. So we just make sure that goes into our pounds column. Our track number technically isn't going to have an impact, but show it anyway. Just get into good habits so you never forget what you're doing. And then that gives us 555 euros. Now, when she came home, she changed 112 euros into pounds, and there's a new exchange rate. So we've got to make sure that we use the new one and we don't accidentally link back to the old one. 112 this time is going into my euros column. There's my trapped number. And again, technically makes no difference. I think it's wise to show it. Now, the answer, before I give it to you in pounds, is 86.1538, and on it goes. So we're going to round to 2 decimal places to show the money side of things. Okay, so if that went well, really well done. Our next question is, on the next page. There you go. Hit pause, press play when you're ready. Okay, so I've got Rose and Amber, 4 to 7. If Rose has 28 sweets, now it's really clear that Rose has 28 sweets. So there's no invisible column. The 28 belongs to Rose. And it's having that confidence of, does this belong to some column I've already got, or is it invisible? It's a column I already have. Then I can just check it through. Timesing by 7 is what I need to be doing. So Amber has 49. And if that went well, awesome. And we've got another little ratio there. Hit pause, press play when you're ready. Okay, so they've been quite clear about this. We are sharing the 280 into the ratio. There's no labeling because there's no story to go with this. I just know that that ratio has to split into the 280. Okay, so it's a total column. I've got a total of 7 in the ratio, 280 in the question, and you work out what you times by. 7 times 4 is the 28. Add 0 to get to 280. So that's what I'm going to be doing on this side. And 5 40s. Well, 5 4s are 20. Add that 0. And 2 40s are 80. So that would be our answer on that one. Hopefully nice and straightforward. Our next question. Hit pause. Press play when you're ready. Okay, so I'm going to put the whole number over 1 so that it's a fraction. I want to use a fraction method, so I need fractions. And then we're obviously going to do our changing from a mixed into an improper. So 3 times 1 is 3, plus the 2 is 5. So I've got 5 over 3. And now I can just do it. 5 times 5 is 25. 1 times 3 is 3. Now, it doesn't say that I have to leave my answer in a particular way. So if it doesn't, I can literally stop there. If it asked me to go into a mixed number, then I would just finish it off by saying, how many 3s can I get into that 25, which is 8? 3 8s are 24. So I've got 1 that stays over the 3. All right, our last question. There we go. Hit pause and press play when you're ready. Okay, so I am not going to be dividing by the 0.6. I am going to get rid of that by multiplying it up. And I'm just going to remind us of why that's okay. So we've got 124 divided by 0.6. That's how I could have written that question. And when I see it written like that, I can see it's a fraction, and equivalent fractions are a thing. It's an okay thing to do. So I'm going to times the top and the bottom by the 10, and it gets rid of the decimal. And then I can just go into my bus shelter, and I should never fear it. If I can do times tables, I can do this, okay? So 6s into 1 don't go, carry that 1. 6s into 15 will go 2. 2 6s are 12, so I've got 3 left over. 6s into 32 go 5. 6 5s are 30, so I've got 2 left over. 6s into 24 go 4, exactly. Nothing to carry over. 6s into 0, 0, or just bring the 0 up, whichever way you kind of think about that. So the answer to that question is 2,540. And then that is us done. Okay, so well done. Consolidation sessions can be hard going because we're having to jump about and remind ourselves of lots and lots of knowledge that we've been picking up and learning along the way. So well done, and I will see you next session.